trigger is when something in our present moment elicits a very big emotional reaction.
And this is an acronym that you're going to follow next time you're feeling triggered, and the acronym is STORM.
The second you pull in and you feel the trigger.
All of the clips you just watched were from content creators who are well-meaning, whose work I traditionally value and appreciate. And they are all content creators who have jumped on the cultural bandwagon around the word triggered. The word triggered comes from the action of firing a gun. You pull the trigger and the bullet is shot. It's the mechanical action that discharges the bullet. But today, triggered is taking on a new use. People are now employing the word anytime a strong emotional response is prompted by some external stimulus.
You're yelling. So is the baby! Okay, so you're a man. Did that motherfucker pay extra to yell? You were sitting there watching that motherfucking baby cry for 45 something. Okay. I'm triggered. Fuck that.
It really serves two purposes. On the one hand, it shuts down or halts, it discontinues whatever the external stimulus is that's causing the emotional or cognitive distress. And then on the other hand, it empowers the injured party to react with intensity, whether that means screaming or fighting or crying or retreating, whatever it is. You can behave that way without any external scrutiny. It drives me freaking nuts. And here's why. Once a bullet is fired from a gun, it is impossible to regain control of the projectile, right? There are things that you can do before you shoot the gun, right? You can steady your breathing, you can focus on the target, you can get a solid base. There are things you can do to control the bullet. But once the trigger is pulled, there is no way to regain control. When most people say they've been triggered, they are implying that due to some event, their emotions are like the bullet, intense, fast, and totally outside of their control. They can't control their emotions or the resulting behavior. And I simply don't think that that's an accurate representation of what's happening in most cases. I think people use the word triggered because it's a one-size-fits-all trump card that immediately shifts to control of a conversation and removes culpability for behavior. It's a conversational safe word that makes everybody halt. The thing is, and I'm trying to avoid going down the safe word analogy rabbit hole, but the problem with that is if everybody uses a safe word, the safe word itself loses its value. I think it's damaging for people to say that they're triggered every time they're having a strong emotion, every time they're uncomfortable. Because the word triggered does mean something. This is not a call to remove triggered from the public lexicon. There are absolutely moments when people are truly triggered.
Again and again, like, why can't you see how much you're fucking hurting me?
But it's rare and it's extreme and it's never used to manipulate a conversation. It's never used because someone feels self-righteous. It's never used to make somebody else feel embarrassed. No, it feels humiliating. It's embarrassing. It's scary. And people, when they are truly triggered, need to be supported and cared for. The idea that you are using this term, which describes people that are in incredible distress, the idea that we use this because we're trying to manipulate a discussion, manipulate the environment, I think is really problematic.
Apple every single day to remove the meat emojis from the iPhones, and they're not doing it. I don't know why they're not doing it. I've been emailing them every single day to stop putting the meat emojis in the phones. Like, it should be illegal. It's offensive to me, and it's triggering to people like me who are vegan, and it's so triggering. And I don't know why they don't take them off the iPhone because they're so triggering.
Okay, so what do we do about it? What's the call to action? I think it's twofold. First, influencers, psychologists, mental health professionals, gurus, motivational speakers, this group, people that have a public voice, need to be intentional about using language that aptly describes whatever the construct is that they're discussing. That's the first thing. The second thing is we as a society need to normalize describing our emotions. It is okay to be outraged. It is okay to be sad, angry, upset, frustrated, distressed, whatever. It's okay to have those emotions without having to halt the conversation, having to control the music, having to control other people around you. We need to learn that we are able to be frustrated and upset and angry without losing our composure. Now, before I go, one final question. To me, there is no doubt that people overusing the term triggered is annoying. Fine. But more important than that, over the last decade, there has been a push in academia, in corporate America, to protect people that are experiencing great emotional distress, right? You've heard about these safe rooms on academic campuses. You've heard about the increased intentionality around language. You've heard, right, there's this push to be more sensitive. And the question is, does that actually improve our psychological well-being? Or does adding those spaces, does being more careful about what we say, does it actually prime people to be more upset? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and maybe I'll do a future video and I'll share some of the research about that last question. Thanks for listening.